Media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland have probably made the stupidest statements of their careers by coming out to talk about the capital gains tax that they've put on potentially only 0.13% of Canadians, which, of course, we all know is a blatant lie. I know we've been talking about budget stuff all week, but what is starting to form here and what we're starting to see is how Justin Trudeau plans to absolutely put this country into the poorhouse even further than he has before he leaves office next year. Now, I want to point out real quick what it is that Justin Trudeau has claimed. Of course, by the budget, the Trudeau media keeps saying that 0.13% of Canadians are affected by the increase in capital gains inclusion rates, which is a blatant lie. Publicly traded companies that earn capital gains just had their tax rates go up. Anyone holding Canadian stocks is affected. If there's no redistribution of wealth, there's nothing getting done. I'm not a politician. I know I'm running for mayor of Calgary. I'm running as a citizen. I don't want anything to do with politicians, and this is why. They're all greasy and corrupt. The only reason they get into politics is to benefit themselves, their friends, those who they have key interests and agendas with. I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but when Pierre Poilievre becomes prime minister, you're going to see the same thing, just not as aggressive as Justin Trudeau. No scandals, none of that stuff. But every politician who gets voted into office has an agenda as to where they want to focus their energies. Some good, some bad. So please don't think that I'm saying that Pierre Poilievre is in any way, shape, or form like Justin Trudeau. I'm simply saying that this happens in politics no matter who's in charge. Daniele Smith has an agenda. Jagmeet Singh has an agenda. Wabnu, I know people say Kinu isn't the way it's pronounced. I say Wab Kinu because I really don't care how I pronounce his name. Has an agenda. They all have agendas. However, if Justin Trudeau wanted to really fix the economy, if he really wanted to help balance the budget, there was a real surefire way to bring it in, and I can tell you right now how simple it was. Start promoting Canadian energy. Promote it to all these portions of the world where you want to make sure that, people are being clean, environmentally responsible, reducing their carbon footprint by using clean practices in energy and natural resources. But what does he do? He brings in capital gains tax. If you were to build the Trans Mountain Pipeline, and if you were to build Energy East, and if we started putting our products to market, I'm not just saying this as an Albertan. I'm saying this from an economical standpoint. If we promoted Canadian oil and gas and put those two pipelines in place alone, can you imagine how much our deficit would shrink versus this capital gains tax that they're talking about with this 0.13%? That's the difference. Understanding that you need oil and gas, that Canada has the cleanest practices of retrieving it. We should be using that as an example for the rest of the world. Now, I'm not going to stay on that subject because if you look on Twitter, it's trending right now. The media keeps saying only 0.13% of Canadians are affected by the increase in capital gains. That's wrong. Same thing. Publicly traded stocks are affected. Please use your brains. If only 1.13% of Canadians can generate $19 billion in added taxes, there's a huge disconnect. Virtually every Canadian is affected. The Canada Pension Plan, other pension plans are affected by investments in publicly traded companies. Again, Bill hitting that nail on the head. Freeland swore the capital gains tax charges would only affect big corporations and the ultra-wealthy. Just 0.13% of Canadians would be affected, she said. Of course, there's an article here from the Toronto Star talking about real estate investors, cottage owners could be hit with the biggest tax bill following Ottawa's capital gains. The Trudeau government's increase to inclusion rate of the capital gains tax will only impact 0.13% of Canadians while generating $19 billion of much-needed revenue for Canada. It's clear this tax change's impact on individuals and families in Canada will be absolutely beneficial, is what this person says. Of course, this is a lefty Twitter account virtue signaling for Justin Trudeau. Again, somebody showing the article to the Toronto Star. Have 0.13 of Canadians considered skipping the avocado toast. It's a tax increase on the wealthiest unless you're driving a diamond-encrusted Bentley garbage truck. You won't even notice. Again, really moot statement. Our PM tells us that the number of folks impacted by capital gains taxes changes in the budget. I personally know 20 taxpayers directly impacted by this change. Assuming our PM is telling the truth, what's the probability of that? Routers has a great article about it that I want to get into that shares a little bit more of why this is such a bad thing. It says the capital gains tax rise will further knock productivity, says economists. Canada's plan to raise taxes on the savings of wealthy people and corporations is likely to hold back investment, potentially adding to the productivity malaise that has held back economic growth in recent years, said economists. In a bid to increase revenue to pay for housing and other programs, Canada's annual budget on Tuesday proposed increasing the share of capital gains that is subject to taxation to 2/3 from the 1/2 from people in the annual investment profits greater than $250,000, as well as for companies and trusts. Raising capital gains taxes could discourage savings, say economists, a key driver of business investment, which fell in the fourth quarter, the sixth time in the last 7 quarters, and has been unable to sustain a move above the 2014 peak. So again, businesses aren't investing in Canada anymore. Why would they? Why would they at a time when Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland talk about the word budget, and yet no items that they brought out on their list directly reflect being fiscally responsible? The Canadian economy needs saving, and it's relatively wealthy that now have less incentive to save, more incentive to move those savings out of the country, said Derek Holt, head of capital markets economist at Scotiabank. Less reward after tax is likely to discourage risk-taking, discourage investment, discourage anything that might address Canada's productivity problems. Of course, it says here, Canada's business investment falls in 6 of the past 7 quarters. Here it is. Last month, Bank of Canada Deputy Governor Carolyn Rogers said that Canada's record of poor productivity growth is an emergency, adding that businesses urgently needed to boost investment to address the problem. What's still missing is a clear plan to promote productivity and restore economic growth in Canada. Canada continues to slip further behind our competitors in both of these categories, says the CEO of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Our lagging productivity and stalled GDP growth means Canadians are becoming collectively poorer and working harder just to remain where they are today. Now, I showed a video the other day of a mom on her way to the grocery store talking about how she had less than $100 and she had to buy groceries for her and her teenage son. And she didn't know how she was going to do it. She joked that maybe she would steal, and then, of course, said, I wouldn't steal. Don't be crazy. But I just don't know how to make it work anymore. That's the real life bubble of what Canadians look like these days. For the most part, you see people that are working roughly making 6-figure incomes combined being told they're living check to check. I watched a video not too long ago talking about the boom that's going on in Calgary right now, with people coming to Calgary saying that in order to get the average home, you have to have a median income of $120,000 a year. That's lunacy. Now, this video talks about it like that's a common thing. And maybe I'm just not wrapping my head around the current economic state of things. But to me, less than a few years ago, if somebody had told me that their family brings in a combined income of $120,000 a year, my jaw would have hit the floor and I would have said, you must live very comfortably on $120,000 a year. Now, what people don't realize during that claim or about that claim is that, well, roughly 49% of your check goes to income taxes before you can even take your check home. So really, you're living on an income of $60,000 a year, and then you're paying carbon taxes, GST, and capital gains taxes, and everything else on top of those things. This is a huge problem for Canada, and Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland have shown blatantly that they really just don't care about this country or where it's headed, other than when it's padding their bank accounts. And it's going to be interesting to see as the votes come in for the budget, whether or not parties are going to support it. I know Jagmeet Singh has been on the fence. We all know he's going to support it at the end of the day because he doesn't want to backtrack on his agreement with Justin Trudeau. But what that's going to mean for Canadians over the next year and a half as we wait to get to an election, the attacks that are going to come forward. Like I said, when Jagmeet Singh backpedaled on the introduction of the new budget and said that he couldn't support Trudeau any longer, when it came to the carbon tax increase, that the snakes are going to start attacking each other. I believe this is just the start, ladies and gentlemen. So whether or not Justin Trudeau is intentionally, well, I shouldn't say it like that. We know he's intentionally burying this country, but it's going to be interesting to see just how much the snakes attack each other and go after their jugulars. At least some mild entertainment amongst our dismay. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. What do you think about the capital gains tax? Do you think it's only 0.13% of Canadians, or are more going to be affected? I can tell you, as a business owner, as somebody who just did their corporate taxes, it's going to affect small business in a big way. And I shudder to think what a lot of companies are facing moving forward. Again, give me your feedback in the comments if it's your first time here. I hope this video has earned your subscription. While you're hitting that subscribe bar, make sure to click your bell for notifications. Join us live here on the channel every Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe, where we go over everything that's happened in the week, everything coming up in the week ahead, and a little bit of back and forth with the community. It's always great to chat with you guys in there and see new folks as well as longtime viewers in the chat and hear what you guys have to say outside of making these videos. I always look forward to talking to each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you all there tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.